Today we are reading Annotations from Ode to Rainbow Path. This song-form epic poem themed around Xianzhou history describes the magnificent life of the historical hero, Rainbow. Part 1 Source Text. Ode to Rainbow Path. Editor's Note 1. Anonymous. You have not seen Sun Chung full of Long Gong, consumed by the planet of sentient evil, standing firm till the end. You have not seen the Yuan Chao covered in Bi Gui, sailing on a path of no return to the crimson star it rends. You have not seen the Dai Yu verdant with Sha Tung, plummeting like a hurtling flame, burnt like lamp oil spent. Editor's Note 2. You have not seen the tumultuous journey in the bowels of space where human and stars alike are transient as reeds. In the beginning, when the world was new, the wastelands to our ancestors did attend, where nations warred against forts, where the plain cavalry's banners did suspend. The wise sovereign quelled the local lords, using arumatons did deceit cease and mend. All cardinal directions were ruled under one, a world unified, standing unbent. Editor's Note 3. The divine race encroached and covered the sky, where Moldrasil poured these fiends. Editor's Note 4. When cruisers and dreadnoughts launched to the depths, to Sanctus Medicus crossing eons, messengers we send. Editor's Note 5. Amongst the nine was the Yao Qing, its delves had many heroes attend. The greatest among them was the Rainbow, with their bow even stars may rend. From the budding shores where ambers are plucked, to the stellar abyss where void whales fend. Editor's Note 6. From puppets disempowered by iron mallets, to slaying Viscorpi and having their flags upend. Editor's Note 7. Flames of war snuffed out from the 5 Navium Astrager, mists of memory of the 8 Xianzhou ships' rivers ascend. Editor's Note 8. Remember how sovereign ruled the ancient lands, that the mighty rainbow none may contend. Editor's Notes. Number 1. This poem is in the ode form, a genre which uses free verse, rhyme, and meter, flexible structure, and often uses words like ode in their title. For ease of reading and due to the length of the poem, the editors had split this work into sections based on progression of the narrative. Number 2. Longgong, Bi Gui, and Shatong are all mystical trees found in primeval Imperium legends, with trunks made of jade and bearing fruits that grant immortality. The Dai Yu, the Yuan Chao, and the Song Chung are all Xianzhou ships that have been destroyed. The Dai Yu exploded in 1200 star calendar during the campaign against the Viscorpi, a denizen of abundance race. The Yuan Chao lost control during the Civil War in 3200 star calendar, plunging into a red giant and disappearing completely. The Sing Chung was devoured by the activated planet Rahu, Devourer of Worlds, in 6300 star calendar. This supports that the ode was composed after 6300 star calendar, but it's also possible that later authors have amended the original. Number 3. This section describes the glorious days when the unnamed sovereign united the entire planet during the primeval imperial age of the Xianzhou Alliance. Replacement by Arumaton refers to the story of the sovereign's ban on all forms of weaponry and replacing security institutions with Arumatons and Ingenia to maintain public order. Number 4. The divine race means the Wing Weavers, one of the denizens of abundance races. Moldrasil is this race's homeworld, a planet-sized giant tree that draws energy from the stars. Here we can see that the denizens of abundance had made contact with various Xianzhou clans as early as the primeval imperial age. Number 5. Sanctus Medicus is the plague's author, one who presides over the path of abundance. Today this title is mainly reserved for the henchmen of the disciples of Sanctus Medicus. From the budding shores where ambers are plucked refers to when Xianzhou observed the celestial comet wall being built by the Aeon Quillpath. Where void whales fend refers to the Xianzhou Alliance coming into contact with the Void Song whales around 500 star calendar. This event should have happened before ambers are plucked, but the poet inverted their order for linguistic flow. Also, based on historical records, the Rainbow Arbiter was born at an approximately 1700 star calendar, and could not have possibly have participated in the aforementioned events. This is evidently a misappropriation. This occurs repeatedly in the text from here on, and individual instances will not be noted further. Number 7. Puppets disempowered by iron mallets refers to the Xianzhou people wresting control of the ships from the Arumatons, starting around 1400 star calendar and finishing with the Heliobi Wars. Slaying Viscorpi recounts the Xianzhou battle against the Viscorpi around 1200 star calendar. Number 8. The 5 Navium Astrager and the 8 Xianzhou ships are figurative, used to represent the entire flotilla of the Xianzhou Alliance. This is not an actual count. Part 2. Source text. In multitude, the Xianzhou piloted the gloomy hare. In solitude, the Xianzhou drove the golden crow. Editor's Note 1. In destiny, they met the homeless floating flames, not knowing that the Heliobi was a poisonous woe. They can trick without words on paper. They can please without poetry or song. Know that illusions are but dreams, and careful to feed demons your joys or tears. Editor's Note 2. The rainbow perceived like a piercing light, their bow arm bent, ready to deal a warning blow. The flaming demons did a red star make, deployed as bait as their fears grew. Editor's Note 3. 2,000 volunteers laid aside their lives. Their bones shall remain on the novice astrager, such was the vow. Disassembling a center guard engine to recast as a drill, with human flesh as its handle, forward they flew. Editor's Note 4. Diving deep into the innards of the Flint Emperor, a thundering explosion the heavenly pavilions did feel. Editor's Note 5. Instantly did the light fade and the star's essence die, the dimming red with its residual lifespan swallowed. Editor's Note 6. Pushing forward to capture the Fey fire, we the demon sealed, forced to nurture the Xianzhou, onward it rode. Editor's Note 7. Editor's Notes. Number 1. In the legends of the primeval Imperium, the moon was a gloomy hare, while the sun was a golden crow. This refers to the rainbow, the Xianzhou fleet, sailing across the cosmos. Number 2. Historical records describe Heliobi as a species of formless energy creatures that can absorb human emotion and influence behaviors. Number 3. Red Star here refers to the red microstar formed by the Heliobi to capture the Xianzhou fleet. Number 4. The Primeval's literature had stated the front line is called the Vanguard and behind them stands the Center Guard. Center Guard refers to the auxiliary engines of the Xianzhou Yaoqing. This line refers to how the Suicide Squad, led by the Rainbow, disassembled and weaponized the ship's auxiliary engines to fight the Heliobi. Number 5. Heavenly Pavilions refers to the Skyward Pavilions neighborhood, a residential area aboard the Xianzhou Luofu. Another possible interpretation is the Divination Commission's Cloud Pavilion. It indicates how widespread the shockwave was felt. Number 6. Historical records show that the Xianzhou Suicide Squad sent the weaponized auxiliary engine straight into the red star formed by the Heliobi, causing it to undergo early decay and implode into a black hole. This line is the first in the history of Xianzhou literature to describe this process. Number 7. Based on records, the Xianzhou residents locked up the defeated Heliobi leader, the Flint Emperor, sentencing them to serve as the power source for the Xianzhou Zhuming for the rest of their eternal life. Part 3. Source text. In thriving, the Xianzhou piloted the Ice Toad. In meticulous care, the Xianzhou drove the 6 dragons. Editor's Note 1. The vast fleet sailed through the time and space, and the title of Heaven's Mast a ship had humbly taken. Editor's Note 2. Many miracles the divine blessing conducted, blurring reality with myth. True liberation. Elevated the wild horses in eloquence spoke, the Xianzhou's fog and clouds to words hearken. Editor's Note 3. The jade abacus carefully was wrought, calculating all mysteries, the world reduced to a deliberation. The rainbow merged the jade, seeking epiphany, and the wisdom walker in dreams showed premonition. Editor's Note 4. Yet everlasting prosperity and wisdom rainbow did not see. There would be fields of corpses, blood-soaken. Crippled, defiled, unending agony. Matted, mutated, total forgetfulness, never to waken. Editor's Note 5. The rainbow bounded with futile warnings, but was thought mad against diviners, mocked in derision. Editor's Note 6. When the poor and nobles joined forces against the rainbow, in scorn, ridicule, pity, or lamentation, Rainbow in a rage scolded the nobles, calling greed for immortality as foolish as the ancient sovereign's obsession. Editor's Note 7. The arbor branches were mere axles to the war chariot, and the rainbow's fleeting arrow found a divine plantation. Turning, the rainbow released their flashing arrow to the tree, and fear and horror and human hearts stricken. Yet exiled to cold coffins for long watchful sleep, this warrior of yesteryear all forgotten. Editor's Note 8. Editor's Notes. Number 1. The people of the primeval Imperium once believed that the moon was an ice toad while the sun was 6 dragons. This refers to Rainbow Arbiter and the Xianzhou sailing across the cosmos. Number 2. A ship refers to the Xianzhou Luofu, indicating that it was the highest ranked ship in the Alliance. Heaven's Mast refers to the Ambrosial Arbor. This is describing how the seeds of the Ambrosial Arbor took root aboard the Xianzhou Luofu. However, the Xianzhou Luofu only became the flagship of the Alliance after receiving the Ambrosial Arbor. Here the sequence is reverted, probably out of artistic license. Number 3. The people of the primeval Imperium used wild horses, fog, and clouds to refer generally to clouds, air, and dust. The structure of this sentence is inverted, with the gist being even clouds and dust grew eloquent through the Ambrosial Arbor's elevation. According to historical records, the Xianzhou experimented with the arbor's fruit, elevating animals to the point of mimicking human sentience and speech. The line is probably referring to this event. Number 4. The motif of merged with the jade originated when the sage Xuan Yao embedded the jade abacus directly into the human skull to peer into the future. This is evidently a misappropriation. The wisdom walker is the one who presides over the path of erudition. Number 5. Crippled, defiled, maddened, mutated, and forgetfulness are the 5 symptoms of being Mara-struck. Crippled means that after suffering grave injuries from external violence, the body must utilize its self-healing capacities to undergo long and painful periods of repair. Defiled means that due to the immortality of the flesh for the Xianzhou people, the body may be forced to eternally coexist with incurable alien viruses or bacteria. Maddened means the person starts to feel anger and violent desires, and starts to have extreme mood swings. Mutated means the flesh is starting to produce mutated organs and can no longer maintain a stable humanoid form. Forgetfulness means the person's mind is taken over by a sense of emptiness, and spends their days in an oblivious daze. This section describes how after the rainbow became one with the jade, they saw the tragic future of the Xianzhou residents, where the people became Mara-struck due to their immortality. Number 6. Mad Against Diviners originates from a Xianzhou folk legend about a person who believed the Ambrosial Arbor to be an alien monstrosity. Opposed to longevity, they feigned madness to publicly express their ardent opinion. Here, diviners generally refers to the Xianzhou aristocrats, and can be extended to include the arbor's fruit, as the aristocrats were the first Xianzhou residents to receive the sacred fruit. Number 7. Ancient Sovereign's Obsession refers to the nameless sovereign who united the primeval Imperium. The rainbow thought the Xianzhou residents were blinded by the seduction of an endless lifespan, and were no different from the nameless sovereign's rapacious fear of death. This drove Rainbow furious. Number 8. This section describes the rainbow's opposition to immortality, and how they shot an arrow into the Ambrosial Arbor to show their resolve. The Xianzhou aristocrats who had eaten the fruit of immortality grew in rage and convicted them. However, awed by the rainbow's historic exploits and prestige, they could only sentence the hero to continual hibernation. Watchful sleep refers to the rotating cryo-sleep system used when the Xianzhou Alliance first left its homeworld. Cold coffins are the cryo-sleep pods. Part 4. Source Text. The years came and went as the fleet floated in uncertainty. Yggdrasil the gigantic we first beheld, as it sucked the stars' energies till all were empty. Monstrous flesh thronged about, thick as fog. The divine race flattered their wings like clouds aplenty. Editor's Note 1. All foresaw the coming catastrophe, but naught could repulse such an almighty. Invading branches cut to deter the tree from the ships, star skiffs surrounded by arms clashing in activity. Brilliant stratagem needed for dire plight, the rainbow roused out of necessity. Editor's Note 2. Tell not the glorious to rest with their wine, but praise for the Hilobis to encase their entity. Tell not the warrior to rest in slumber, but with the flint emperor to assault our nemesis without charity. Editor's Note 3. Human lives are but a transient lightning. The fate of heroes never lies in their own hands, never with certainty. All people rose to follow the rainbow's example, daring to guard the sky and protect home and company. Editor's Note 4. Editor's Notes. Number 1. Thick as fog and clouds aplenty describes the vast size of the denizens of Abundance's armed forces. Number 2. To repulse the invasion, the Shinjo people decided to raise Rainbow Arbiter from their slumber. Once awakened, the Rainbow analyzed the situation and concocted a strategy to break the deadlock. Number 3. Rainbow ignored common advice, heading into the prison deep within the Shinjo Zhu Ming, and persuaded the imprisoned Heliobi leader, the Flint Emperor, to help the Shinjo fight off the denizens of Abundance. They made a deal, and the Rainbow allowed the Flint Emperor to possess their physical body in exchange for the power of the Heliobi. Number 4. Inspired by the hero's sacrifice, many Shinjo residents made the same heroic deal. They formed suicide squads and marched alongside the Heliobi. As clouds that cover the heavens, will the warriors protect the Shinjo and soar eternal. This is the origin story of the name Cloud Knights. Postscript. This part describes the Flaming Catastrophe, one of the Three Sufferings era, approximately 3,000 to 4,000 star calendar. At the time, the Shinjo Zhu Ming detected gravity waves from a massive object, but failed to capture any light signals. Only when the Shinjo Alliance drew nearer did the stargazers realize that this massive object was a world of trees feeding off nearby stars. It was also the mortal enemy of the primeval Imperium, Yggdrasil, homeland of the Wing Weavers. What petrified the Shinjo even more was that the ship behemoths of the Viscorpi also appeared. The Viscorpi were directed by the Wing Weavers, and the two races were living in a symbiotic relationship. As if attracted by the power of the ambrosial arbor, Yggdrasil slowly began approaching the Lo Fu, and the most epic battle in the history of the Shinjo soon broke out. Fatigued from the civil war, the living catastrophes of the Three Sufferings, the Arumatan Rebellion, and the immigration plan, the Shinjo residents were powerless to counter such a crisis. They released all the prisoners in cryo-hibernation, including the hero of this epic ode, the Rainbow. Part 5. Source Text. The Rainbow stood constant at the helm, steady with the Shuin Yuin holding firm. Editor's Note 1. Forget life and be convinced in your resolve for death. Now in swift battle we shall rebuke the swarm. Editor's Note 2. In the future may we always triumph, and cleanse the enemy with courage and vigor and arms. Editor's Note 3. Dazzling jade whistled through space, as the full might of the arrow pierced the stars in gloom. The skies billowed in a lightning sea, and the planets cracked open in thunderous inky doom. The arrow fell from mountains' heights, an arrowhead whistling loud as valley gales that loom. Blood rain poured upon the Zhuling, and nights turned crimson on the Feng Hu. All souls shaken to their very bone. Editor's Note 4. The sentient timber all shriveled and collapsed, torn asunder with void forces and torrential streams. Editor's Note 5. When the clouds and dust had diffused, the Fey King and the Rainbow were nowhere to be seen. Editor's Note 6. Only their arms did remain and were reforged, cast into ingots committed to Ji Yuan gloom. To electromagnetic cloud those were sent, to circle the skies of shine with stellar bloom. Editor's Note 7. Sorrow and lamentation amongst the stars spread, tears and cries for their end unfathomed. Woe is the hero in all their shed tears. They no longer chase the Lo Fu, but other stars that roam. Editor's Notes. Shuwen Yuwen is a famed bow of legend from the primeval Imperium. Here it refers to the rainbow's weapon. Number 2. This line transitions rather bluntly. Together with the next line, it is possibly a speech by the rainbow to boost morale before battle. Another interpretation is that the rainbow knew their death was near and deliberately left their final words. Number 3. This may be the origin behind the common battle cries of the Cloud Knights. Glory to the Xianzhou, glory to the Cloud Knights, and cleanse our enemies with courage and vigor. But it's also possible that later generations amended this. Academics hold different theories, and the order of the lines is still up for debate. Number 4. The historical record shows the battle formation during this war was in this order, from the nearest to Mudrasil to the furthest, the Yaoqing, the Luofu, the Yuche, the Zhuming, the Fenghu, Sencheng, and the Zhuling. The Zhuling and Fenghu were far from the front lines. Other records point to the rainbow firing their arrow from the bow of the Yaoqing. This line describes the size of the impact from the rainbow's star-shattering shot and how every ship in the Xianzhou alliance was affected. Number 5. Based on historical records, the rainbow's arrow smashed into the ambrosial arbor, penetrated the almighty beast, and severed the connection between the Luofu and Mudrasil. This ripped open a fissure into the void, and a monstrous wave of imaginary force spewed forth from it. This line describes that event. Number 6. Based on historical records, the rainbow disappeared after shooting the arrow that turned the tide of battle, but the Flint Emperor had left behind part of their body. This line claims that the Xianzhou people could find neither of them. Perhaps this poem records mere rumor. Number 7. Ingot, Zhiyuan, electromagnetic cloud, and circle in these two lines describe how the people of Xianzhou, in commemorating the rainbow sacrifice, embedded their relics into a Zhiyuan ingot and launched it into Mudrasil's orbit, so it can shine as long as the star exists. There is no mention of such in existing records, and the incident may be poetic license from the author. Moreover, this is the first ever mention of the Zhiyuan ingot launch ceremony in the history of Xianzhou literature, but neither the time that this custom started nor the date of this ode's composition can be verified.